indelible. It's a lie that you spread. The doctor said that the past would always trip you up. Another dirt hump shitting in a scissor cut.
That was Imaginary Walls Collapse by Adam Stafford, the title track and first song on... First song? It better be the first song. Of course,
it is the first song.
It's the one that we got asked to play on the... I told you about this, didn't I? I got an email from a producer at the BBC saying, "Oh, I love that track. Why didn't you highlight that track?" It's like, well, you're radio. You play 2.5-minute pop songs generally. That track is almost 7 minutes long on the record. I don't know how long the version is that we just did. So why on earth would I send you this sort of loopy, dense, slightly grating 7 minute... It doesn't matter how good anybody thinks it is. 7-minute songs don't get played on the radio very often. You mentioned Yiffy before, but Yiffy is obviously short for Y'all is Fantasy Island, which is your previous band. Now, I have to confess, I know very little about... Because I was just getting into underground music in Scotland, I think, as you guys were sort of petering out.
Yeah.
But, I mean, could you just tell me a bit about the band, really? How long had you... You've been going for a while, hadn't you? Because you had a really good, solid reputation as sort of underground indie warriors, or whatever you want to call it. And like I said, just as I was getting to know you, you sort of...
Yeah.
Call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, we made a couple of not a couple. We made 4 albums, and it just got to the point where I think, as that group of people, we'd said all that could have been said. So.
That was Cold Seas by Adam Stafford, Toad Session recording. We've got a couple of tracks actually next on the podcast by people who you've collaborated with in the making of this album, including Robbie, who's here playing with you and recorded the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then Siobhan, who sang a lot on the record. I got the impression from you, I know you said earlier, it's like, I like to be the man in charge, but I did also get the impression talking to you that was one of the things about the band, was that by the time the band came to an end, you just wanted to do what the fuck you wanted to do, and that was it, and not really have that, well, not really have it questioned, but by the, you got to the point where there was enough sort of internal wrangling, and it was just like, right, okay, from now on I just want to do my shit, thank you very much. Is that overstating it, or is that...
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of an overstatement. We all got on in Y'all is Fantasy Island. It was just, I think there was just a huge lack of communication, mostly on my part, to kind of let the other guys know where they stood within the band. And I remember kind of around about the time that we split up, I'd written Shot Down You Summer Wannabes, and I was kind of trying to think how I would take that to a band and how we would do that live when it was completely a cappella.
Yeah.
So I suppose, and other stuff got in the way as well, but one of the members was starting a job that was miles away, and there was all sorts of
real
stuff.
life annoyingly interfering with
bands.
The
the old real life stuff.
But I mean, it seems like you divested yourself of all collaborators. You went into your bedroom to jam with yourself. If that's what the kids are calling it these days.
Yeah.
But then sort of slowly but surely you seem to have accumulated collaborators again. Is that something that you were a bit, not hesitant to do, but just wary of doing in a way that was going to fit properly? Or is it something that just kind of just happened and you just sort of, it's like, fuck it, okay, this is interesting, let's go?
Yeah, I mean, I knew already the parts that I thought would suit the songs and the people that would be the best to play them parts. But I'd never been shy of collaborating with other people, because it's great what other people can bring to to a recording, you know.
So how much creative input did everybody have? Because it's not just Siobhan who sings on the album either, is it? She's one of the female vocalists, but...
she sings a good 4 songs out of the, maybe even 5 out of the
I think it's
10
all
tracks.
It's all but one of the female vocals of Siobhan, is it not?
The other female is Anna Miles from the Maple Leafs.
And I suppose in the recording, given how, I mean, you're assembling loops, so I guess it's quite a technical process. It's not something you can just rock up, play it live, and then that's you. You kind of, and if Robbie recorded it for you, then I assume there must have been a fair bit of back and forth in there, because it's almost necessary, isn't it? Just given the way that you record your music.
I mean, I would attribute almost 100% of the way it sounds and the way it was recorded to Robbie, and the bass lines that he came up with, and some of the percussion and glockenspiels and lap steel guitar. I mean, it's you did most of the work, and I kind of just paced in the background. I think that's a good way of describing our relationship. Robbie does the graft. I do the pacing.
This is a bit of a every interview anyway with you about the album that you've just released has gone on to mention this. I was on the verge of quitting, and Ian, who helps us out with SongbyToad Records, obviously, and myself helped sort of talk you out of it. And I have to confess, it's getting to the point now. It's starting to strike me as one of those lines that goes in a press release and everybody picks up on, and actually the legend is not actually all that closely related to the truth. I mean, you weren't that close to quitting. I mean, you had a bad patch and you were a bit discouraged, but I know you sent us a slightly stroppy text message saying, fuck all this, I'm going to... But was that just a wee dip, or was it, I mean, how serious was that?
I think I was thinking that I'd maybe quit publicly releasing music and playing live, but maybe just continue kind of doing the demo tapes and the cut and paste collages, for my own amusement. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty serious at the time. I was just, you get into a funk sometimes.
But also, I did notice one of the great frustrations is that Mrs. Toad and I happened to be away on holiday when your album launch shows happened. But apparently, you had Robbie along to play. Did Hubby join you in a couple of songs in the Edinburgh show? And Siobhan played as well, or sang her parts as well. Is that the closest you've come to having a band on stage since?
Yeah, it was Robbie and Siobhan who played most of the set through, and it's something I would like to continue live, but it's just a case of when.
As and when the money permits, or as and when practicality permits?
I think it's practicality more than anything, especially on Siobhan's side and on Robbie's as well. He's a pretty busy gigging musician as well. So
she hinted that you two were working on something as a sort of a actual joint project, rather than her singing on your songs or something like that, but actually a joint project. Is that a thing, or is that just a sort of a half a nice idea that you discussed once?
There's been talk, but I'm meeting her next week, so
we'll see.
Yeah.